video we'll be showing how to do indirect addressing with RS5000. This will be version 20 and we will be starting from scratch. Keep in mind I will be using the RS chassis or RSLogix emulator 5000 chassis. So with that, let's keep that in mind. So first off, we'll go to File, New, and then we'll go ahead and of course our data type or our processor type is going to be the emulator. We'll go version 20 and then we'll put a quick title in here. Actually, let's fix that title. Okay, so sorry, just wanted to fix that title. Real big about that. With this, we got our name, we have our processor type, we have our version, we have you can select your chassis type, whatever you want. In this case, we're just using the emulator, so we don't need to use anything. We don't need to specify this because it's all emulation. We're not using any physical hardware. Slot number, you can put it in whatever you want. We'll go in slot 1, and that's just wherever you put your emulation processor. That's all that matters. And just keep in mind, so at this point it's going ahead and making the file. So we have our basic file in here, we have our emulation, and what we'll do is we'll make sure we have a processor in our emulator, our RSLogix emulator chassis. So we do, so let's go ahead, and I'm a big thing of, I like to get rid of these continuous tasks, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's get this stuff out of the way. So let's delete. And I don't mind changing this to, so changing this to a periodic, and we'll put the periodic, let's just say 20, actually 47. So, and we'll change the name to main task 47 milliseconds. Okay. So I'm trying to get this set up real quick. I know I don't want to waste too much of your time. Just want to go ahead and rough example this stuff just to show you from scratch. So we do have this at 47 milliseconds, periodic. Okay, so we're good. Alright, so with that said, we want to add our main program, our main routine. So we'll go ahead and name it main. We'll come in here and specify that is, make sure that is our main task, which it is. Okay, so we'll come in here and we'll also throw in a indirect, I don't know what it is with that. Okay, direct address. Okay, so we'll put in the indirect address example just to show that, highlight the fact that that's what we're doing. So we'll come into the main. First and foremost, we want to put our JSR to jump to subroutine, and then we'll put the file that we're going to, which is our indirect addressing example. Okay, so now that we have our example in there, let's go ahead and start the programming. And we can do this online, offline. I would go ahead and I'm just going to do this for offline just to show you a couple of different ways. So basically we want to make two data types. And we can do that too. So we can go into, well, I'll tell you what, let's just do this on the fly so it's easier. You can do it through the controller tags if you wanted to. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink. Got a little scratchy throat. So basically, you could add your titles in here and add your data types in here and alias them and whatever you wanted to. Now, what we'll do, for the sake of doing this, we'll make sure we do this on the fly. What I mean by that is we'll make all our tags and everything as we do the programming. So real quick, we'll do a move, and then in the move, what I want to do is create a tag, and in that tag we'll put I don't know, let's call it state array or something like that. It's just a name. I mean, no need to kind of dig into that any more than it needs to be, right? So real quick, it's a dent data type. What I want to do is make that dent data type pretty deep. So in the dim1, not dim2, or not dim0, not dim1 or dim2. So you could do it deeper if you wanted to. So I just want to real quick make this like 50, something I'm never going to use. I'm never going to use all of it, right? So with that said, I'm never going to use all 50 of these dents. But I want to give myself room in case I want to grow. So real quick, I made that, and then we'll make another data type, state current state, and we'll leave that as a dent. We will not index that dim 0 to anything other than what it currently is. So you only want 32 bits. You do not want 50 words like we just put in the other one. So what I want to do is copy this real quick, and then come up here, and then in the source to move, you want to type, add your brackets, and then add your current state, and then brackets again. And then what we'll do, we'll change this, and then we'll put what we'll do is we'll put the current state as far as that will change. So right here we have the state array that we made. It's currently a dent of 50, right? So 50 words. We have the current state as basically a dent of 1 word, so 32 bits. And what we want to do down here is we'll put something like HMI state readout. I know that's just, again, just a representation. I mean, it doesn't have to be, you can name it whatever you want. I just want to show an illustration of how to do indirect addressing. So with that said, is basically what I can do is I can come down here. Actually, let's keep it like this. It's just an example. So just to make it a dent, and that makes that rung, okay, that makes that rung true, right? So what we can do is we can basically type, we can click go online and pick our virtual chassis, which is our ABVBP, which is virtual chassis backplane, our virtual backplane, I should say. Make sure we go into our slot 1, because that's where our processor is. It says go online. I want to download. You can just hit download if you want. You don't have to go online. Okay, so it's a real short program. Of course, it would download really quick. Hit run. Okay, so with that said, what we can do, and I'll show you this too, is you can right click the state array. And in this state array, say for instance you wanted for state 1 or state 0, you can add whatever bits you wanted to, right? So if you wanted to cut on several bits or just 1 bit or no bits, basically you could go in and do that. In the current state, what we'll do is you know, that's going to be our readout, and then the HMI readout. So right click that's going to be the destination. So what we'll do is in the current state is we'll add a timer just to index the states, right? So we'll just do a quick example to illustrate what I'm talking about. And I'll make this pretty quick, so not to take up too much of your time. Basically, index timer, and then we'll put that at like, let's put it at 5 seconds. So make that done because it's a free run. And what I want to do is I want to come down here and put a couple different like transitions to different states. Is basically, so what I'll do is I'll come down here, and it might be best to just use a counter in our example. So let's do this. So we'll change index timer to index timer 1. And then we'll come down and add another timer. And then we'll come down and make that like index timer 2. So you'll see why I'm doing that in just a second. Basically, I'm making a flasher timer. And I'm doing that for the sake of, you know, I'll be able to transition everything. So what we want to do with the flasher timer, again, is just make one happen, and while the other one's happening, it basically, let's get rid of this. We want to make one bit our control bit. So as this times out, you can use this bit right here to index. So we'll shorten that up to 2 seconds. So every 5 seconds, the bit is on for 2 seconds. Okay, so alright, so at that point, we come down here and we want to use this bit, and in that focus, we want to basically count up. So we want to have a counter, and then we'll say index state. Index state timer, our counter I should say. So let's do this 32, and we'll do that, and we'll also, what I want to do is throw in a one shot, because that counter will keep counting if you leave it high. Not so much on a periodic task, but on a continuous task, it will keep cycling and cycling, and you'll never get a consistent rate. You'll always index, you know, it'll continue. It won't count just once. It'll count, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. However fast your processor is scanning that routine, I should say. Now, in a periodic task, you can control the timing based upon the timing we have over here on the main task. So not to get too far into that. I still like to do a one shot. It's the best practice. So index ons, and I put ons just as basically that's the instruction, right? So you know, that's basically the instruction type. So just to keep it simple, and then we'll put a reset in there, and we'll say if the reset, and we want to reset the counter if the counter is at its high limit. So it said it's done. So as soon as it's done, we want to reset the counter. And I'll do this again just to illustrate the indirect addressing. So sorry for that. I should have had all this done, but I wanted to kind of show how easy it is to emulate something. Okay, so not to get further into this, let's do this. Add a new rung, and what we'll do is we'll add a move. Okay, so we'll add a move and we'll put the counter accumulate, and we'll move that into our current state. So current state. Okay, so now that let's just simply go over the emulation real quick just to show you what I'm doing. I programmed a flasher timer, or basically, so flasher timer 1, or index timer 1 if you want to call it that. So what we're doing, and as soon as it comes on every 5 seconds, basically it stays on for 2 seconds. That gives us time to scan and do what we need to do. We come down here and we say, well, in that instance of that bit coming on, we do a one shot. We have it index a counter, and that counter, as soon as it's done, it will reset itself. We then take the index counter, and whatever the accumulated rate is at that time, we want to move it into the current state. This is just to emulate, or simulate, I should say, the transition up here. Now, this, you may say right now, this is not working. I will say that it is working. If you hover over it, you can see that it is transitioning. The problem with what is not happening is that you do not have any data into your state array. So let's quickly go back to the state array. Into the state array, we want to put 0, and we'll put 1, 2. You can also do this too. Just change it like through here if you wanted to. And I just want to show you this. I'll probably change this in a minute to show you how powerful this tool is. It's a really, really powerful tool in the way of programming. You can do many, many different things. So let's just put 8, and just to kind of give you an illustration of what's happening now that we have data in there. We'll wait till this resets. Actually, let's put that at 31, and let it almost reset itself. And now we should have data coming in here. Sorry. So this should index 1 now. If you see how that worked, we fed it with a indirect address for this state array, and the state array came down here and fed the destination of the HMI state readout. So the indirect addressing is indirectly addressing the state, or the portion of the array that it represents. So right now a 4 is representing 4, right? 5 is representing 5, 6 is representing 6, 7, 8, and to keep going like that. So you'll see as it indexes 6, 7, you see that does that. So now when it hits past 8, what it's going to do, because we don't have any data in there, it's going to index, or it's going to have a 0. So you should see that. Well, so now let me show you how powerful this tool is. So with that said, let's do this. Let's say, for instance, that we wanted to have on state 2, for instance, we wanted to have bits 3. Let's do all like odds. Let's do 3, 5, let's do 7, 9. Now I'll tell you what, let's just stop right there just to show you what was done. Okay, so in state array 2, so when the current state indexes to 2, the state array is going to indirectly get addressed to make all of these bits in here that we have a current state of 1. They're going to be in the high state. They're going to be in the transition from a 0 to 1 state. So we could actually come in here and like copy one of these, and we'll just say, let's just do an illustration to kind of show you what's going on. So we'll add a rung, and then we'll go like a no operation. Just I want to show you the power of this, and you can use it for whatever you want. So we'll put and then what we'll do is we'll make tags, and then we'll say state output, and in the state output, and then we'll put like state output, word to, and then we'll put 1, and we'll come to here, and you can name that whatever you want to. I want to illustrate what I'm doing. So I'll paste the alias. I'll make it an alias and paste it in there. You can also come down here and just pick what you want. So we know that we've changed the state array of 2. We indexed 1, 3, 5, and 7 as something that should come on during that state 2. So let's do this. Create that tag. And I believe, let's see what we did here. So that's actually the current state that it's on. Let's just see. What I want to do is okay, yeah, that's right. So in that state, it's going to come in and be done or whatever. So what we can do is just to show what you want to highlight. So if you wanted that on or off, you could simply just do that, and it would change the illustration. So right here, you just seen that we cut the 1 off. So in the state readout, the current, basically your current your input, right, or your current state is directly being addressed by the current array. So whatever's in the current array is going to do the HMI readout, and we should actually put this as like I'm sorry, let's put this as I want to change the name of this. I want to change this to state output, and I know I put the other one as that, but I'm going to correct that too. So I want to change this to, that's the input, and I know that just got a little confusing, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So that's the input, and we'll make that high again. So real quick, we'll copy this, and I just want to show everything that's being made, and we'll paste, come down here, and then we put state array of 2, and in the state array of 2, come down here and we pick 3. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, don't make the same tag twice, right? And I know this is getting kind of quick, but it's a video, you can watch it again. And then you may be, keeping up with everything that's going on perfectly. I don't know. Really all depends where you're at, but that's why we're making videos, right? We want to keep growing, keep getting better. The industry's only getting quicker and sharper, and we need to stay on the same trend as that. So, just to highlight that, I mean, autonomy's coming, whether we like it or not. It's here to stay, really. Alright, so state array and 2, and I'm just basically showing what I'm indexing, and to give a representation of what I'm not indexing, I could just come in here and put state array 2, and then have this come on state array of 2, state array word 2, and then I'll show you this is going to be 2, right? So we're not using 2, and we'll cut this to make this short and sweet. So in relation to what I'm doing is I'm showing my configuration of that word right here. Just a couple bits. I can actually put all 32 in there if I wanted to. You don't have to show this at all. I'm just showing this basically for representation of showing you how things work. And what we'll do is we'll put the output state, and we'll come down here and we'll show. I want to try to keep this all above the same thing so you can see it. So we'll put the output state. So we'll put output 1, and then we'll put output state, or state output, I'm sorry. So state output should be 1, and then we'll put state output 1. Okay, so that's cool. And then we'll come down here and make another one. Okay, so let's put output output 3. And then again, we want to name it output 3. And we'll do one just as a representation of what's not working. And then we'll put, and then actually I'll index them on the input word too as far as that goes. Output, let's change that. Sorry. Okay, so output 2, because we know 2 is not working, right? And then we'll come down here again and reference our alias tag of 2. And then we'll come down here and add just generic things. We can put like solenoid 1. Actually, let's do this. Valve 1. And I just want to show this, as far as the output, what you can do as far as controls. Valve 2, and then let's name that valve 3. And that way you can see what's going on. You don't have to keep in order. You can do whatever you want with this stuff. I'm just trying to show you an inline version of the best way to do this, illustrate what I'm doing. Okay, so in the instance of state 2, which is coming up, right? So real quick, we'll make that 31. So it's about to reset itself. The whole state indication is going to reset itself. And then once it gets to state 2, like right here, once this gets to state 2, which is on state 1 right now, you should see the output come in here and the output come on. So valve 1 and 2 will come on, or 1 and 3, and valve 2 didn't come on. And the reason is because we don't have valve 2 open, or we don't have the configuration open. So with that said, you can kind of see just the different arrays as it's going down. So you can have different things happening at different points. And that's just because of what we're doing here, right? So if you were to come back here, we have 1, but we're actually using the control word as we want to control it on the state array of 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. So different bits are going to keep staggering down. So real quick, we'll show the fact of let's cut off 1. Now let's cut off 3, and we'll reset it. Okay, so 1. Now as soon as it hits 2, now only number 2 is going to come on. So you've seen that. So in the last instance, so let's do this. Let's show the same thing, and let's cut on the input 3. So you should see 3 and 2 come on. So when it hits state 2, on state 2 indexes, you should see 3 and 2 cut on. If I wanted to, I can make that one cut on. So you see that how that happened? And that's basically the input word, right? So what we're saying is if the indirect address of whatever array we want, right? We're cutting on, you know, either this bit, this bit, this bit, whatever bit you want to choose. You can cut on and use it for whatever you want to in that point in time. So you can make this as big and elaborate as you want to. This is just a really simple cut and dry method to do this. And you know, you can have this do multiple things. We use it for like a good state machine. So state 1 would do this, state 2 would do this, many different aspects, right? So real quick, I just wanted to kind of show, wanted to show how that's done, and the power of it, really. A lot of people get confused with indirect addressing, how it's working and how it currently works and whatever. So indirect addressing is very powerful. You don't have to use it for just state stuff. You can use it for just about anything. You know, as far as readouts, really the sky's the limit if how you want to use it. I mean, you can do many different things. Just know that the current reasoning behind what I'm trying to show you is whatever the value is of the indirect addressing, so the stuff inside the brackets, whatever the value of that is. So you see it's indexing. That represents whatever is gonna happen on the first of the statement. So what I mean by that is, like, so let's take this. Actually, let's take this like this. And let's break this down just a little bit further. So Notepad, I'm a big fan of Notepad. Let's break this down a little bit further. So if current state, in our instance, right, if current state equals 1, then the state array is going to index to 1. So for state array equals 1. So right, so we kind of got how that works. Now in that same sentence, if we said, I don't know, let's pick a different number. Let's pick 10. So if state, then we could say that the current state is going to equal 10. So I'll change that too. So if the current state, which is our indirect address, right, the stuff inside the brackets, if that is equal to, whatever the value that is equal to is going to represent what happens here in the state array. So keep in mind the state array, like I said, is a dent of 30 or 50, I should say. So there's going to be a 1 or 0 through, yeah, it would help if I spelled that right, through 50. So you could index the current state all the way through 50 if we wanted to. So let's show that in representation. So let's do this. Let's say, okay, so let's put 50, and we'll have it reset. We'll have the index timer, or the index counter, right, that we put in. We'll have that represent all the way to 50. And let's just, I mean, you can watch it cycle if you want to, or we can just take it higher up, where it used to reset at 32. Now it's going to reset at 50. So you see that our current state right here, now our state array is going to be 32, and then 33, and then it's going to keep on going. So let's go ahead and let's put a value into, let's say 40. Let's go all the way down to 40, right? And then we'll put a value of 512. And we put a value of 512. So once it hits 40, you're going to see 512 transition into here and then move to the destination of the state output of 512. So we're on 38 right now. And as soon as it hits 40, you're going to see that value of 512 index into the output. Okay, you see what happened right there? So back to the notepad, no matter what you put in the current state, it's going to represent what happens in the state array. In our instance, you want to have it like this. So address, let's see, address, it's going to really kind of represent like this. Indirect, and again, sorry about that, I just woke up really. Indirect address. Okay, so if you look at the tag structure, the indirect address is going to make the address of whatever happens, it's going to represent that. So if this value is at a 20, this value is at a 20. If this value is at 10, this value is at 10. If this value is at, I don't know, 50, this value is at 50. This, you know, and the same goes, you know. So if this is 1, then it's going to be 1. You know, I mean, whatever the case may be. You kind of get the way that's laid out. Or if you don't, I mean, I can go a little bit further in depth in another video, but obviously we're kind of getting a little high on time. So far it's been like 38 minutes. So I hope you really are getting something out of this. I'm trying to make it as cut and dry and as quick as possible from scratch. I could have like pre-made this and shown it in a different light. I'm not sure that you would have got so much value out of it. So, you know, and that's the purpose between like what I'm trying to do, you know, in these YouTube videos, and I'm trying to add value. And I'm not just trying to show you a simple cut and dry method where you have a lot of questions. You still may have questions, right? And it depends on your level of programming or whatever. And don't get me wrong, we've all started from the bottom, so there's no big deal, you know, where you are. If you do have questions, make sure you know, put them in the show notes below, or I'll put a couple different things in the show notes below. But you can put a comment down there, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. And if you want to see something different, or if you want to see like more of this, or maybe something slightly different, servo controls, I have a lot of videos on that. A lot of videos on structured text. I just thought I would make a quick short video, well, I tried to anyway, of basically indirect addressing, but try to get a little bit more detailed and to show you how to use that properly. And granted, so these three rungs are just simulation. So I mean, I could have put any value I wanted to in here, and you know, I could have just went ahead and typed in a value, and that one did the same thing. But I wanted to show you it like indexing real time. So, and also give you a representation of how this works. You know, like a notepad scenario. So real quick, just wanted to show you that. I'll save this and we'll come back and just in case anybody has any questions, I'll readdress it in a different manner. Just I wanted to show you how things tie together and how things work. And if you have any questions, again, leave them in the comments below. You can also visit my website at onlineplc.com, or onlineplcsupport.com. I'm sorry. So make sure you let me correct myself. It's onlineplcsupport.com, and that's a website I'm developing. I'm making that more. It'll support everything I'm doing on YouTube, and you can always go back and just go straight to that website and see what we're doing. So they'll be in like different articles and stuff like that, and they'll actually have the code, so you can actually go through and pick out the sections you want and emulate them or use them how you want to. Just that's to help people grow. And I will probably be making like a step-by-step programming method. If people are interested in that, I'd like to know. I'd like to make something that's kind of low cost, but still very value added to show you how to progress in your career and maybe even grow. Maybe you're starting from scratch and you want some help and you just don't know where to turn. So I know we've all been there. So real quick, if you would just share the video, or if you like it, you want to help other people. That's the whole purpose of this, is making these YouTube videos to help people. And hopefully you like these videos and you want to subscribe. But I'll have all the information down below in the show notes below the actual actual website that I have and everything like that. So alright, so not to take up too much of your time, I already took up about 42 minutes. And I'll probably make a short version of this too, to kind of link to this version, to kind of show you, like a real cut and dry method, without having to look at this big long, waste about 45 minutes of your time. So not to say it is, but hopefully you stuck around. Okay, well, thank you again for your time, and hopefully you get to watch some more of my videos and let me know how you like them. Thanks.